How would you describe yourself as a student when you were at school?
Math hit me, and I hate math.
What made you think it's all right, a 52 will do? Why do I need to get a 92?
I was very confident. I was very sure about the fact that something was this could happen. I remember reading even in the middle of the night on a small, the crack of the door where there's a little light coming. The rest of the room is darkened, but I will sit and just finish up reading that bit of my book.
When you went to university, did you ever have an imposter syndrome?
I was very clear. I want to be a practicing criminal lawyer, and I want to work in the Supreme Court with the victims, and I want to really make a safe place for them in my country. I am never ever judgmental of a single student ever.
What would you say to somebody who feels they are not smart enough and they can't chase their dreams?
Welcome to Unbroken, my story with Tisha. This is where we talk about failures, challenges, and the lessons that shape us. Today's guest, Dr. Tushita Sharma, is living proof that you don't need to be a straight A student to make an extraordinary impact. They weren't top of the class. They didn't collect trophies or academic awards. In fact, they might describe themselves as pretty average at school. But somewhere along the way, curiosity, discipline, and a deep sense of justice pulled them into the world of law. And they didn't just enter it, they mastered it. From an ordinary student to a professor, shaping the next generation of legal minds. It's a journey about grit, growth, and redefining what potential really looks like. If you've ever felt like your school grades didn't reflect your true ability, this conversation is going to speak to you.
Tushita, welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for being my guest today. How are you doing?
It's a pleasure to be there. I am so glad to be able to pitch in. I'm doing well.
Brilliant. So, not many people would know, but we are related. You're my younger sister. We have the same parents, so you're truly my younger sister. And your journey has been an incredible one from when you started, where you started, and where you've reached. Primarily, we'll be talking about your academic achievements and how you were as a student when you were younger in school, and then what that journey looked like when you were, growing up, and now where it has taken you.
It's going to be one hell of a journey, but yeah, sure.
Okay, brilliant. So how would you describe yourself as a student when you were at school? How would you describe yourself?
Can I start from the present and then take you down back?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many of your viewers and your listeners are aware, but I am a professor teaching in a university college, teaching the law, and my area is the criminal law at that. The most exciting and the most adventurous law there is, one that is very much in touch with the human psyche and justice and crime and punishment, and all of that which fascinates the world in ancient, medieval, and modern, and of course contemporary times. So criminal law is, it's like I say, it's my bread and butter. But did my journey begin, or did it start with my thinking that I will be an academician, that I will be a professor, teaching students, or that I would be one of the most educated in my family because I'm the only one who is a doctorate? Of course, I'm not denying all of my siblings. My family is very well placed. They are very highly educated, but none of them have managed to do the doctorate. That is the highest academic accolade. That's the postgraduate degree, and thereafter the doctorate. We come from a very affluent family in our country. Our father was very highly placed in the bureaucracy. Our mother was very educated and very accomplished. Both of them were wearing multiple feathers on their caps. They had attained a lot of education, and they were doing very well, and they were famously, known across their peers. To be assigned in that background, for me, not that easy, because I think I had never understood the math of how to read, how to write in an exam setup. I would never think, I still, if I didn't say, in that. I never found it relevant. And artist, I was, and I still am to that extent. Uh, in my language, in Hindi, we call it chanchal.
Yeah.
A fickle mind, but in a positive way. I mean, not I understand chanchal like that.
But I'm curious about a lot of things and moving.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not very settled, not so focused, but not unfocused also, I mean, at the same time, okay? So I was of that nature. I still am to a large extent, similar to that, but there have been many changes, of course, which is why me and you are talking today over this podcast about this particular topic. With that kind of a, mental state, I started thinking that my parents are so well placed. They are doing wonderful. I have an elder brother, an elder sister, and a younger brother. And they are all also very much, well to do as far as academia is concerned. They're doing well. They're getting great marks and grades. They have been looked up to, even by me. But somehow I would be like, it's too boring. Why should I brought about and we have so books and stuff to carry, not every subject, different book, 10 subjects. And then you find all the notebooks and then the geometry box and tipping that was just too much for my shoulders. So I used to just pick and choose what book I wanted to carry and what book I did not want to carry. Not very sincere.
So it would be right to say that as a student, you did the bare minimum to just get by, so to speak, and you chose where you want to focus.
See, I'll tell you what, I was very focused in the classroom. I think that kind of really helped because I would not do much of background study. I would not do, I will never read and go to the class, and I will almost never ever read once I'm done with the class. So my main base of knowledge would be the classroom, to be honest. And it is from the classroom that, unfocused listening, which I used to do, I still have that habit. So because of that, I think things would just, that age is like, your brain works like a sponge. So if I was able to, I think that's the only saving grace I really have. I would actually, be able to understand the concept in the class and then retain most of it. So that when I'm sitting for the preparation of the exam, like hitting the books just a few hours or maybe a night or two before the final big period, just looking at the book or looking at the class notes or something will kind of, trigger the mind with whatever is already there. And I would be able to bring passing mark at least
in some subjects. I think it wasn't the case for all of them, but maybe some.
No, in some of the subjects I was like at the top of the class also.
Yeah.
Like language. But when it came to mathematics, I used to make such terrible times with mathematics. My 10th standard board exams, pre-boards were to happen. I had just finished and my pathetic results came out in the pre-board exams. So I was sitting on the terrace with my father. So I told him, listen, Dad, math hates me and I hate math. He was don't expect me to math after class, class 10. I'm so done with it in grade 11 as well. I'm not much to math.
So when you were at school and that young, did you realize at that time that you were probably struggling with something, or was it like a normal thing for you? You're like, well, you know what, I'm not going to carry the bag. It's too much for me. I'm just going to focus on some subjects that I do want to focus on, and that's pretty normal.
Actually, that's true. It was very normal for me. I had a whole brigade of friends. Again, like, very well-placed parents ensured that we were in the best school in the country, right? So we were like literally the best school in the country. So all the super achievers were there in our school. So all my classmates, most of my friends were those who used to be like, the scholars and the badge holders and the toppers. But you were getting at 85, 90%. People are getting 90 to 93%. And I'm like, okay, even if you get a 45, 50, 52, it's okay. It's okay. You don't do extra. I'm like, what did you do extra by getting 92? Even if I got 60 or if I got 58, I'm fine.
You're in the same class as them the following year, and you're having the same experiences as them probably.
Yes, not. Now that I think of it, I think I may have been better than that because I think there was a lot of experience I was getting in so many other spheres. If growing up should be fun, it should not be a burden. I hold by that today also.
Yeah. But growing up in the family in which, we did, in terms of parents being so accomplished and, father having such a prestigious job and career, and your other brothers and sisters doing fairly, well as well. Did you not put that pressure on yourself that, oh, I need to as well? I mean, what made you think it's all right at 52 we do? Why do I need to get a 92?
I'll tell you what, this is a very important point that came in my life. After a certain time, I never gave it a second thought. I said to Utspur, I don't care. I'm not interested. It's okay. Something going to happen. Our mother used to be so worried. We used to go vegetable shopping with her, if you recall, right? We used to go vegetable shopping, we used to walk it down, and then we used to do a lot of chatting and stuff with mom and, bonding and stuff. And one day, on one of those excursions, she's telling me, I'm so worried about you. I'm in grade 9 at that time. And grade 9 is, if you ask me even today, more difficult than standard 10, because although it's a board year, 10 standard, it is the 9th study which is really, hard.
It's the foundation of, isn't it, the following year? So your principles really get kind of clarified in that year. So I can understand that it's more.
Yeah. So as a result, she's telling me, I'm so worried about you, what's going to happen? And I'm telling her, patting her on the back, Mom, don't worry, I have a very bright future.
I remember.
Look at me, and she's aghast. She's like, what is this girl saying? Yes, she is not. There she is standing, and what is she talking about? And to be honest, I did not know what I was talking about. But I somehow never had I was very confident. I was very sure about the fact that something was this going to happen. But turning point came in life on one day when I just started thinking that this is after class 10 results were out. And I had to take, I think before the 10th standard results were out, and I had to decide on my subjects for specialization in 11th and 12th. And in our household, there was a whole stress on mathematics and sciences. So I was very clear that I'm not doing mathematics. I was also a little scared of physics because I used to always think that math and physics go hand in hand, and if you don't do math, you can't do physics. Although I didn't have much reason to, I didn't have any scientific backing to that, but it was just the understanding of a 15-year-old that took time. And
I think there is some truths to it. I think, you do take kind of learnings from one into the other.
Yeah. Not true. I mean, one does act as the base to the other and all of that.
Yes.
So I was very clear that I enjoy biology and I enjoy chemistry, and I'm able to do both of them. I'm rather good at that. And English I was always excelling at. So I thought these 3 subjects are surely in, for the next grade. And the other 2 subjects could be anything. I don't mind it.
So you had to take 5 subjects in year 11?
Yeah, we had to take 5 subjects, and normally physics goes along with chemistry and, mathematics. And at that point of time in my system of education, things have really changed today, but the way it was at that time, you were having to take a science background or a commerce background or a humanities background, which was at that point of time also known as art. So you had to be a clear-cut science student who was doing a medical preparation, or a clear-cut science student who was doing engineering or architecture type of preparation.
Yeah.
Or you're a commerce person, or you're a humanities person. So I was not going to put myself in that trap of physics and math. I was very new. So I started thinking, what should I do in life? And I thought, I was not thinking career-wise. I was just thinking study or I don't want to study.
Yeah.
With that simple as that.
Yeah.
Because I think I've been very clear in my mind on a lot of things at all points of time. So I decided I'd like to study. Yeah. Okay. So I told my sister's doing it, brothers are doing it, my parents have done it, all cousins, everybody around me is doing it. It can't really drop it time. It has to be easier than that, right? I get it easier than rocket science. I can do it and I shall do it. I just had conviction in myself. But here that I will find, I moved on to the next logical question to my brain: what will I study? And I said, okay, I am not, mathematically bent mind, so I'm not doing mathematics. I'm not doing accountancy. I'm not doing the business type of studies, but I'm main person and I'd like to do humanities.
So you were saying your elder brother really helped you, or our elder brother really helped you. So do you want to explain? Do you want to explain a little bit about what had happened and how he helped?
Yeah. So basically, because I was not planning on taking sciences or the commerce subjects, my father was very clear that I'm not putting you to the most expensive school in India with subjects like humanities, which you can do just by yourself. You don't need teachers and such expensive schooling and all of that. So I took that up as a challenge, and I literally told him, I said, I'm going to go to the same school I've been going to, and you are going to pay the fee for that. I don't care. You are doing it, and I'm doing it. And I think at that point, when I made that kind of a statement, our brother was there. Our elder brother was there. And we just experimented that let her do whatever she wants to do. Oh, he convinced Papa. He said, Papa, it's all right. Let her do whatever she wants. If she's saying she wants to do it, she will do it. So give her that opportunity. I think just having said that kind of melted my heart, or at least it appeared to me like it's, the brothers and the thing. It's quite possible. I didn't become a parent. I now understand that some things are done to show to the children.
You knew somebody else is backing you, and that gave you that little bit of confidence as well, isn't it? I mean, we all find strength in ourselves, which is amazing, and we all have to, and we should find something in ourselves that we are able to hold on to and fight our battles. But it's always great to have another pair of hands just holding you and giving you that wind beneath your wings, isn't it? So wonderful. What I do want to ask you, Tushita, is was there like a mindset you had to change when you were from 10th to did you start suddenly worrying about your career or where that money is going to come from? I mean, what made that mindset change though? It couldn't just be a case of mom worrying about you, because you kind of gave mom the reassurance that mom, my future's right. So what was the hardest thing in your mindset that had to change for you to kind of become serious about your career?
Many things that did take place. But I think very clearly it was not a situation of, today this happened and then there was a transition. It was more like a button switch on and switch off in my case. I just kind of realized that I have to be doing something. And, our mom, again, I must take mom's name here because she used to say one thing, but she'd been saying this since quite a few years to me, at least, if not to the others, but at least to me, she used to say that, see, we are no business, we are not the biggest, business corporates in our country. We are people who have studied and made a name on whatever fame, and all our hard work has been through our study. And we can invest only in terms of education upon our children. So you study as much as you want and you will fund your education. So the question of money in India as far as education is concerned is not so much on the child, because parents really, prepare themselves for the child's education. So our mother told me that you just study. Don't worry about, how. We will fund you for study, but study. Because that's the only legacy and the only inheritance we can give to you, and that is your education.
True.
Pay for everything you want, but we will not be able to give you, a set up business or anything other than that in terms of inheritance and legacy.
Yeah.
So that kind of was one of the sentences that always stayed at the back of my mind, and I say that to my son also.
Yeah. So tell me, what motivated you to go into higher education, despite obviously not being as focused in your school life as some other kids had been? I mean, there's quite a distance you walked from being the performer that you were at school to going into higher education.
So the transition actually took place right after 10th standard results came, and once I had the set of my chosen subject, I think there was no looking back. And once I started, so I began today's podcast by telling you that I did not know how to read, write, I did not know how to put my thoughts together on paper. I think I started learning that only in grade 11. And that's when I started exploring my writing skills and my ability to read something, comprehend it in the way it is expected to, and then, think it over, mull it, and then put it down in my own thoughts. That kind of helped, but that did not happen overnight. No, I have been a vociferous reader for all of my life that I can remember, right? And thankfully, because at home also we used to have this great encouragement for reading, all kinds of. In fact, mother put us into reading a lot of literature and good classic literature and all of that from a very, very young age. So I remember reading even in the middle of the night on a small, the crack of the door where there's a little light coming, the rest of the room is darkened, but I will sit and just finish up reading that bit of my books. I mean, because of reading so extensively, I think when I decided to study, it was like a click, it was like a switch that got. It came just like,
it came pretty naturally to you. And I do remember this, that even I could not sleep without reading a book. I mean, that was just something that was my downtime, And tell me, so when you went to university, did you ever have an imposter syndrome? Did you ever feel good enough to be here? Because I've got these other people who are, such great achievers or have got XYZ marks and percentages and grades, and I maybe don't.
No, actually, so by the time my next grade, like, my senior grade started in 11th and 12th standards, I think I started performing rather well.
Yeah.
And I was among the top of my class thereafter. I was not topping as in the top most, but I was 2, 3 on that number of the class. And I think that kind of just kept giving me the push. And then it was the question of what I will be doing in terms of further education, higher education after school year. I had a couple of options. I was much in love with geography. By the way, I also topped my school in in the board exam. And so I was kind of wanting to do geography honors, and I said, okay, that's a subject that really enamors me. Somehow was always there in my mind because I had seen a couple of these really inspirational Hindi movies, wherein, the lawyer plays a very positive impact in the lives of the downtrodden and the victim. I thought that, very much close to my heart, and I would like to help the world. I would like to leave it a better place. And if law can help me, why?
So my question would be, so once you were in class 11, year 11, as some parts of the world call it, you always had that conviction that I can do this. You never had a doubt.
I did. I had a major doubt on one part of economics was very fearsome for me because again it involved a bit of mathematics. Come to think of it, it involved basic mathematics. It didn't even have mathematics. It had basic bloody arithmetic. And so I was very fearsome of that part of economics. And I think 50 marks of that in the final exam of class 12 did not go down so well with me. I did not score good marks in that. But the rest of the 50 marks, I think you really helped me. Thank you for that. And I was able to do that pretty well. So I got most of my marks from that other 50, which I was comfortable with rather than, so my score of economics should be steep.
So how did I help you? Was it this 50% of the paper that I helped you with?
So because I told you that, listen, I know nothing. I said, Bija, I know nothing in, this national income accounting bit where you calculate the GDP and the NNP and blah, blah, blah. And you said, it's okay. Forget it. You don't like that? Leave it. What do you know? What do you understand? And then I told you, I understand this book and not that book. You said, okay, come. You sat with me and you read every chapter of that, first part of it. The one that dealt with demand and supply and all those charts and all of that. And, you taught me perfect market, competition, this, that. And I can never forget that that's what got me through.
So that's a very good point, actually, what you said. So you focused on the strength rather than focusing on the weakness there, which is, I think, an amazing takeaway from this conversation today. That identify your strengths, find out what you're good at, what do you enjoy doing, and then maybe focus on that rather than worrying about what is it that I'm not good at. Unless and until you really want to become better at that and you're pursuing a goal there, that's a different thing. But in these kind of situations where it's about sitting an exam and getting marks and going to the next level, focus on what is your strength. So that's a great takeaway, I think.
Right. And I'll tell you what, even when I started studying the law, my innate nature never changed. Okay. So it's a business law subject, and I have like 4 bailouts to do in that. Okay. The Sales of Goods Act, the Negotiable Instruments Act, the Specific Relief Act, and one more, Partnership Act. And you had studied at least 2 or 3 of those pair acts, okay? And you were like, listen, you got a paper 3 days from now. Why are you still, loitering about? Why are you just patting away? And I'm like, yeah, I'll study. So you picked up my book and you said, okay, tell me, what are the duties of the seller? What are the duties of the buyer? And so you literally sat me down and you made me to literally, mug it all up. You would keep speaking, you make me repeat after you, and then something got into my head, and then I went and took that paper, and I got wonderful marks in that exam as well.
I have to say, that's kind of same principle I follow with my children as well. So when they can't remember something and they want to memorize something, they always come to me with the book. Mom, help me, remember this and help me memorize this section. So that's the same kind of concept I use with them as well that I use with you. So you've done your year 11, you've done your year 12, you've gone to a law school, and that was what, 3 years?
No, there was this entrance exam. When I reached when I reached the entrance exam center, I see a lot of people from my own school and the high performers who have been like super achievers. They are there, and then some of them were literally looking me down. Like, oh, she thinks she's gonna take this exam. I was like, I've changed. I mean, I was thinking, this is not real body language interaction that's happening. And I'm like, hey, listen, buddy, I've changed. I've improved. I know how to study. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. But did you have an imposter syndrome at that point? Did you doubt yourself at all? That, oh my God, look at all these people.
I could read their body language, and I didn't feel very good about that. Because I thought they're just too bloody judgmental and they had no right to be judgmental about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that kind of gave me a bigger push to make sure. So maybe I got 2 marks more because of their,
Because somebody was trying to maybe judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could actually cut that body language and it was not very happy or positive. And I took it to an offense, to be honest.
Yeah, but that spurred you to do better. That gave you the encouragement to be more focused and to do better.
Again, a challenge that you are here and I'm here and I'm going to do it as well. And who knows how I can do it better than you?
Yeah. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. So, you obviously then got the admission because we know that you teach criminal law now. So we know that you did get through law.
That moment came once I was finished with, or I was about to finish the law. I had to decide what to do in career.
Yeah.
I was very clear. I want to be a practicing criminal lawyer and I want to work in the Supreme Court with the victims, and I want to really make a, safe place for them in my country. But over the years of my law studies, I'd also been doing the internship in the various trial courts across the nation. So I've worked in many states. And I realized that being a first generation lawyer, I'm talking about nearly 24 years or so. My experience was that it's not a kind place. Criminal trial court is not the right place for me because there are a lot of things that are happening away from the book. Okay, and I have not one of those people who can, just accept that very easily. So it got thinking, what next? If not practicing as a litigating lawyer, then what next? I realized that as a good speaker, I understand concepts well. I can relate and communicate them also pretty well. I was very notorious as a student. One day I was chit-chatting during the class, and my family law teacher tells me, "You're talking too much. Tomorrow's topic you're going to teach." I said, "Okay, ma'am." And I come back home with a book, single book from the library, and the thinnest possible book from the library, like you that. A subject I've just started, 4 5 days back, because this is right in the beginning of that semester. I come home, I just came through those 2 or 3 pages. I close the book. Next day morning, I go and take the class. And that kind of put it in my mind that that's a good idea. So after a few years, when I had to decide, I thought teaching in academia might suit me more. And I think I made the very right decision, because I'm just so happy being in a village. I can't tell you. I don't come alive in the classroom, and it's really fun to interact with students. I love it.
So let's get to that part then. Having gone through the challenges you did, and having navigated your life so far, and now you are a teacher in a university, starting as a lecturer or something similar. What did your past teach you that made you different in terms of the empathy you could bring to the classroom? Because you might have students who could be at different various points in their journey. So what empathy could you bring to the classroom?
So the first and foremost thing is, I am never ever judgmental of a single student ever. And it's been now, I'm in the 18th year of, 18th year running of my academic career. I have never ever made a judgment. Even if a child or a student has spoken something which has, with the intent to, ruffle my feathers, and maybe even for a few moments being successful at that, and I may have even, admonished that child. But the next meeting, the next class, I'm back to normal. I'm not judgmental. I forget, have forgive. I open the new sheet. So that I'm very clear about, because I understand people have, moments very down. People have moments of good and bad, and we all have a right to that. So I'm first and foremost very sure about it. Second thing is that I have been notorious enough to serve. I'm prepared to face all the notorieties of my students. And then some of them like to challenge, like, "Oh, do you know this? Do you know that?" And then somehow, because maybe the subject is of my liking, it's my own, specialization. I did my master's in that. I also did my PhD in that. So not easy for a student who's just beginning to learn a subject to, overrun a faculty member who has been doing it and has been doing it, for a few years. As well, for so many years, for nearly 2 decades now, okay? And then teaching since nearly 2 decades, but studying since much, much longer, 2.5 decades. My law journey. Yeah. So they don't understand that. And I just take that to be, newcomers. It's okay. They're new kids of the block, and they will learn by their own follies sooner or later. Life teaches everybody. That's my very firm belief there. Life teaches everybody. Your baby is doing anything. You may be on the right path, or you may be on the wrong path, but life will give you the lessons it needs to. And you don't have to go begging for that. It will come to you. Will come to stuff.
Really well said. So, what did you learn about intelligence or being intelligent that maybe school never taught you?
I think it's a big misnomer that somebody is intelligent and somebody isn't. Because intelligence is all about the moment you decide you want to do it, anybody can. And trust me, rocket science is also not rocket science. Okay, sorry, rocket science is too overrated. Even rocket science is doable because people are doing it. It's all about your own mindset. How much are you willing to go for it? Definitely hard work is something you can use side to part. I also had to see my own hard work. But I'll tell you, when you listen to something with focus, at least in my case, that could happen. Because I was, focused listening in the classroom, it became easier for me to study later, revise, and then write the exam. being a good reader and appreciative of the classics and regularly reading can help me majorly.
Yeah.
And what can you not learn, if you did?
Yeah. So, how would you define success now compared to how you probably defined it when you were a bit younger?
So, success to my mind, a balanced life. When you have a balanced life, you're successful. When you are run after one part of your life and, not there for the rest of whatever is part of your life, you are not at all successful. That's how I understand it. You can be very wealthy but not have health. You can be very healthy but not have happiness. You can be very happy in your career but not have a happy family. The thing is, we are human beings. We are social beings. We can't eat money. We can't eat our jewelry. And we can't live on just air, right? We need a lot of things around us. We need emotion. We need people around us, right? We need support from so many sectors. You cannot live your life with certain kind of a connectivity, and that connectivity will stay alive when you are with your sibling connected. If that connection is broken, then your life is in an imbalance. And when you don't have that connectivity with your parents or with your career or with your child or with your partner, spouse, or friends, that's possible life. So what needs to be understood success, which I think is very important, is a balance on everything. You can't be a workaholic and say I'm very successful. I'm sorry, you're not successful, because being a workaholic means you only work for a part of my life, not your whole life. How good. Except with that. But when I was younger, you should probably be measuring success in terms of fame and meaning and probably the money you earn, or the kind of power and the meaning of power that is there.
That's really well said. That's really well said. And I think I totally agree with you that success is how when you're able to balance the different spheres and the different things that make your life complete. So really well said. What I would like to ask you now is that obviously you meet lots and lots of students, you meet lots and lots of people in your life. What would you say to somebody who feels they are not smart enough and they can't chase their dreams?
Oh, well, I think you need to have a dream first and foremost. So if you have that spark in you, one fine day you will know it. I always tell my students, and I've had students who have been demotivated or who have felt discouraged or who have not felt confident enough, and they ask questions because we, as a participants, we do a lot of mentoring as well. So I have actually mentored students, and I tell them, don't judge yourself by that list alone. Whether you make it or you don't make, again, come back to balance. Life much larger than just the career. So if you have set your eyes upon a particular career or a particular field, you can't strive to reach. But always have a plan B and never be bogged down and never try to calculate that your worth is only there because you made a particular cut or you made a particular post. You are as valuable as you were if you were in that book, right? And you are still valuable even though you have not made it. There will be something else that you will be better suited for. As long as you are there to do good, you could be doing good every which way. You could be doing it as a president of the country, or you could be doing it as a sweeper of your street. But you're doing good.
Absolutely. That's really, really well said as well. Again, some real gems of, wisdom and thoughts you've given in this conversation. What would you like, our listeners and our viewers to take from your journey? What would you hope they learn from your journey?
I think they should never lose hope ever. I mean, standard 9, when I was doing horribly in mathematics, I said to my mom, don't worry, I have a bright future. I think I was not bogged down. I was surrounded all across from top to bottom with achievers and super achievers and, blue blazer holders and blue tie holders and toppers of the most difficult exam in the country and God knows what all and what not. And you have lived, life with with me in faith. So, that part of what I say is something that broken a lot of people, especially when they were in, down the dumps as far as a few of the subjects like mathematics and physics were concerned. But never by being brave. And I think I just had that confidence in me. And I think I was fortunate to have wonderful family members who belief was faith in me and just, kind of was the push that I needed. And I think what is important that you have a never say die type of an attitude.
Yeah.
Every black cloud has a silver lining. And one day that sun will shine out of that black cloud. So you have to wait for that moment. But till this moment comes, don't stop. Right? Just wait at, just be at.
Keep doing your bit.
Yeah.
That's a very good thing.
Life is challenging for so many people in so many, different ways than mine. But whatever may be their peril, whatever may be their pressure, I think one day at a time, one breath at a moment.
Yeah, that's so well said again. Great takeaway from this episode. I think that kind of sums everything up as well for me. So before I let you go today, I don't know if you can see, but there's a board behind me. You can barely make it out, but there's a board behind me where I ask all my guests to give me something positive to take away, something that resonates with them, a saying, or it could be a line from a song that resonates with them, anything a positive message. So is there one that I can take from you? And I'm going to write it down here, and then I'm going to pin that up on my board.
I think you can write a few words only. Okay. So one will be balance.
Mm-hmm.
One will be confidence. But it is very, very important. And life itself. I think these four sentences kind of sum up me.
That's absolutely brilliant. So I have written the words here and I signed it on your behalf as well. So balance, confidence, happiness, and life with lots of heart.
Thank you so much. That sums up the whole of today's talk.
Thank you, Tushita, for being part of the podcast and sharing your story. And I'm sure it would have inspired, a lot of people out there to not give up, to find the strength in themselves, to maybe find those people they can talk to and get that confidence from as well. Because you're right, we are human beings, we are social animals. We need that support system around us. So it starts with your inner strength, but surround yourself with people who you can rely on as well, and they can be, your confidants. So thank you so much. I wish you all the very best for the future as well. And I'm sure we'll talk after this podcast just to catch up and do some gossip. But have a lovely rest of the day and look after yourself.
Thank you so much. It was brilliant being on your show, and I'm so touched that you wanted me on your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Much love to you.
Thank you for joining us for this powerful conversation. Today's story reminds us that academic labels don't define a lifetime. They're just a snapshot of who we were at a moment in time. Our guest didn't start as a top student, but they became a top educator. They didn't follow the traditional path, but they carved their own. And that's the message I hope stays with you. Your potential isn't measured by your past performance, but by your willingness to grow. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, keep rewriting your story, and stay unbroken.